Hello and welcome. I'm Sonia, and today I'll be guiding a full body flow practice, all from a chair. So let's go ahead and find our seat on the chair. For this particular sequence, you're going to want to make sure you found a chair that has no arms, and also one where you're able to put your feet on the ground while seated in the chair. So just making sure you have that, and then coming to sitting nice and balanced in your seat and in your feet. Knees nicely lined up over your ankles, shoulders over your hips, nice long spine. And then just take a moment to say hello to your breath. Maybe a few nice big ones. And then just allow it to fall into a rhythm that feels smooth and one that you can strive to stay with throughout your practice. So let's go ahead and start moving. We'll start by warming up the spine. So let's just go ahead and come into a few nice, just reaching as high as you can on your inhales and exhaling to bringing your hands back down. A couple more like that, perhaps looking up towards those hands with your eyes and your heart. And then back to neutral as your hands float down. One last one. Once you've landed, we'll go ahead and make our way back into some side bends. So we'll use the support of the chair with one hand while we reach up and over with the other hand. And we will go from side to side, trying not to rush. Trying to feel our breath coming into our movements. And one thing to check in while you're swaying from side to side is to strive to stay nice and evenly planted in your chair while your body leans. Let's go ahead and call this the last one, coming back up to center. And let's bring our hands to our laps and just make some nice rotations with the torso. You can let your weight shift throughout your cheeks on the chair, almost like you're giving yourself a little butt massage. But your emphasis is moving that rib cage, sticking it forward and out to the sides and out to the back. And let's switch and go the other way. Get some breath going if maybe you've lost it. And last one, bringing us back up to that center place. Let's go ahead and stretch out our feet a little bit. So let's plant them nice and firmly. And as you lift your heels, really ground through the balls of those toes. And then when you plant your sole back on the floor, see if you're able to lift all 10 toes as high as they'll go. And do a few more rounds like that. Inhaling to lift. And exhaling to replant. Couple more. Last one. And once your feet land back on the ground, just double check you haven't lost your length in your spine or your groundedness in your seat. And let's go ahead and come into starting to lift those feet off the floor. Really exploring how high you're able to take the knee without losing that grounded pelvis. And we are alternating sides, inhaling to lift and exhaling to lower. Deciding which leg you're gonna work with first, doesn't really matter, we'll do both. Picking up that chosen leg and giving it some support, holding maybe its shin or its knee or even its foot. And whatever you comfortably reach, and you're gonna make some circles in that hip socket. So just kind of however large or small feels good in your body. Just kind of getting any little kinks out of those hip sockets. Stirring some breath in there. And then let's switch directions nice and smoothly. And next time your leg comes back to center, we'll go ahead and hold it this time behind the knee. and just giving it the support that it might need so that you can start straightening that leg out in front of you. And then bending it back, this time allowing it to come even higher and allowing your back to round. Straightening it on the inhales and squeezing everything towards you on your exhale, kind of squeezing out the breath simultaneously. When your leg lengthens, so does your back. When your leg curls, so does your back. One more time like that. And then as your leg lengthens out this last time, let's go ahead and have a core moment. We'll see if we can play around with releasing the leg, lengthening the spine, breathing there. If you feel like you need to support the leg, then do that. And our next step is to lower that leg towards the floor, leaving it nice and long. Hands come to the thigh of the bent leg, and then drawing your heart forward, kind of hinging at the hips, drawing the heart towards the big toe of the long leg. Going however low your body will allow you to go. Once you can go no further, allow that back to round, relax, collapse, the head to do the same. Got the bonus of being able to rest the torso on the thigh of the bent leg. You could let the arms dangle towards the floor if that feels good. And then as you make your way up, rounding that spine, stacking those vertebrae one at a time and reaching overhead. And then as you bring the arms down, slide that foot in. We're going to go to the same leg, one more stretch on that same leg. So picking it back up, this time grabbing a hold of the ankle and placing it on the thigh of that bent leg. Flexing the foot, sitting up nice and tall. And then again, hinging forward, leading with that heart, just exploring how far you're able to go before your body starts to say, hey, that's far enough. Really listening to the body. And then when you get to that spot, your sweet spot, breathing into that stretch for a few moments. Coming back towards upright, helping that leg come back down towards the floor. And we'll do a few more rounds of those heel lifts. This time we'll coordinate it with another round of sweeping arms. So as your heels go high, so do your hands and your heart. And then as your heels lower, so do your hands and your chin. Remember to play around with picking up the toes when you plant your soles. Just really stretching out those feet. And see if you can constantly remind yourself to come back to the breath if you lose track of it. Let's do one more like that. On this last one, we'll hold for an extra breath or two in that heel high, hand high position. And then lowering it down, preparing for leg number 2. So lifting it off the ground and holding it wherever it makes sense for you and looking for those nice circles in that hip socket. You could even do this without holding the leg, but it might appreciate the support. And then that nice smooth transition, switching the direction. Last one, and once it gets back to that center place, you'll change your grip on the leg, holding behind the knee and moving towards that lengthening on the inhale, both the leg and the spine, and then rounding everything in, squeezing out tension. A few more rounds. Last one, this is the one for the hold, so either just continue to hold the leg or release it. Breathing. Looking for that core control of lowering the leg towards the floor. And once it's there, let's sweep those arms up, and you can either hinge forward into your forward fold here, or you could support yourself by bringing your hands to that thigh to help you out. Either way, we're looking for a letting go moment, letting that spine go, letting that head go, and breathing into the stretch down the back of that long leg. Making your way back up. We'll take those arms up one last time, and then when they come down, you'll slide that foot in. So again, let's go ahead and pick up that same foot, placing its ankle rather, on the thigh of the bent leg, sitting up really tall, nice open heart, and then hinging forward, leading with that heart. Just really playing with finding your edge, but not pushing past it. Once you're there, just hold and breathe. Let that nice deep hip stretch happen. One more really nice, smooth, full breath. And then gently make your way out. Wonderful. Okay, let's go ahead and turn to the side. So you're sitting sideways on your chair, and we'll sit up nice and tall so there's space between those vertebrae, and then we'll turn to face the back of the chair, coming into a nice twist. Holding on to the back of the chair, one hand on either side, and using that as some leverage, some support. Always looking for length. Nice full breaths. And then smoothly unwinding, facing your knees again. So scooching a little bit off the chair so that only the inside thigh and the inside cheek are on the chair. You're holding on just to give yourself, again, a little support. And this inside leg, we're going to move. So we're going to explore taking it behind us as much as we can, and then taking it forward as much as we can. So just really looking for that nice, healthy, full range of motion in that hip socket, starting to stretch through that hip flexor. And we'll do that one more time, and then we'll end with that leg in that reaching back position. Toes nice and curled, reaching through that heel. The more you reach back through the heel, the more you'll feel that hip flexor. So just kind of finding that nice deep stretch, and then kind of coming in and out of it with just a subtle little relaxing the knee, taking the press back of the heel, letting that relax, and then coming back into it. So you're kind of deeply stretching and then sort of coming into the relief of the stretch. Couple more times. I'm going to add an optional of reaching the arm. So as your leg goes back, you can reach your arm up with it, looking up with eyes and heart. And then as your knee goes to that soft place, lowering that hand, maybe even playing with reaching back. Couple more. Let's do one more. And as you come back down to that neutral place, we're mostly staying as we are, as far as our front leg and our what's on the chair, but we're going to turn that back foot now to an angle. If you're familiar with Warrior One, we're essentially setting up for Warrior One with the support of the chair. So that back foot, even though it's at an angle, really trying to prevent it from rolling to the inside edge, really trying to find a spot for that leg where the foot's able to ground itself. We're still facing this direction though, towards this front knee. Once you feel like you've grounded that back foot and you've got that nice powered up back leg, let's add our warrior arms. Reaching straight overhead, taking those fingertips as high as you can, spine as long as you can get it, heart nice and open, shoulders relaxing down, breathing. Next exhale, let's float the hands down. And now we're gonna go ahead and leave the legs mostly as is, but we're gonna turn our pelvis to face the front of the chair again. So we'll scooch ourselves in such a way that both sits bones are gonna replant themselves on the chair. The long leg is still at an angle, although you might have felt like you needed to adjust it. You still want that foot nice and planted. Still got this bent leg, knee over ankle. And here we go. We're in our warrior two now. So let's add those warrior two arms. And breathe here. Reaching those arms, nice long spine, nice strong legs, stable pelvis. We're gonna go ahead and in a fluid way, start moving from our extended warrior to our side angle. So we'll use the forearm on the thigh to open up into our nice side angle. Give it a breath. Windmill those arms back through center. Give yourself a warrior breath. And then we'll windmill the other way, reaching towards the long leg and just opening up through this whole waist, side ribs, armpit, all the way to the fingertips as much as we can. Breathing. Let's go one more time. Each side, a little more fluid without rushing. Just look for that nice fluid feeling in the body. And in the breath, come back to center. Give it a nice, strong, lengthening breath, and then float those hands down. As we make our way out of this, we're gonna start scooching the feet into a position where they are, they're still wide, but they're now doing the same thing as each other, both probably at an angle, knees over ankles, seat nice and evenly planted, and that spine nice and long. And let's go ahead and use the inner thighs as our leverage. We're gonna put our palms there and use that as you press with your hand into that inner thigh. Arm becomes strong, and we're gonna draw that shoulder towards the knee. And you'll know when you've gone far enough, you should feel a nice stretch through your back, perhaps in the shoulder, and we are gonna go from side to side, giving yourself enough time in the pose to feel the stretch and breathe the stretch, yet going from side to side. Let's give it one more each side. And as you come back up to center, let's go ahead and take those arms up, but in a nice wide position. And while they're there, let's pick up both heels in this new position and just allow this to be a pose to feel and explore and breathe. And then let the heels and the hands float down. Walk those feet towards one another. And we're gonna make our way to the second side on those lunges and etc. However, let's first do just one forward fold. So a nice reaching, lifting of the heart, and then leading with that heart as you float your torso towards your thighs, hands towards the floor, and then let that back round, relax, and collapse. Let the head be heavy. Breathe here. Maybe there's something in particular you're feeling ready to let go of. Just allowing your breath to hold some intention and let it go. Let it cascade off your back, out the crown of your head. And then let's slowly build our upright pose again, stacking those vertebrae one at a time. And once you are nice and tall again. Let's turn the other way. So finding that grounded feeling and then turning for your twist, turning to face the back of the chair, holding on to the back of the chair and just wringing stuff out. Inhales give us a little extra length as we lift the crown of the head and find space between those vertebrae. Exhales allow release, so shoulders fall, face muscles soften. Any of our little tight spots, let go. Maybe it's mental tension, letting that go. And as you unwind, facing the knees, perhaps there's that little scooch so that your inner leg is free to come into that reaching back and reaching forward. Just kind of waking up that hip socket, getting it kind of juiced up with some nice blood flow, energy flow. And on this next one, let's come into the hold. So really playing with grounding the balls of those toes, reaching back through those heels, and adding that nice arm reach. And then coming in and out of that, dropping the knee towards the floor as the hand drops, and reaching the heel back as the arm goes up. Finding your rhythm. Making sure that what you're doing feels good for you. Last one, slightly longer hold. So just really open up into that shape and breathe it. As we make our way out, we're building our warrior one, so that back foot is going to go to that new angle, really trying to ground that sole. Nice long leg, this inner hip, striving to keep it moving towards those front toes. Spine nice and long, you're stable on the chair, adding the arm reach, straight overhead. And just breathe this warrior strength for a few more breaths. As we start to make our way out, hands lower, pelvis turns to face forward again. Legs ultimately stay as they are, but they do need to adjust so that you've got more like warrior two legs. So again, we want both feet grounded, one long leg, one 90-degree leg. Once you feel like you've found your pose, add the arms and just breathe here. Explore the space in your heart, the space in your spine, the length and strength in your arms and shoulders, that stable feeling of the chair supporting you. Make sure you've got your breath, and let's start moving towards that swaying torso. We'll do one more each side, still going nice and slow, giving ourselves a chance to feel and breathe our movements and our postures. And once we get back to that centered warrior place, let's again just open into it, feel its power, and breathe with it for a few more breaths. Let those hands start floating down. Let your long legs start having some bend. And again, scooching those feet to that place where they're wider than average, but you've still got those nice 90-degree angles happening. Knees over ankles. And We'll do another round of picking up those feet and stretching out those calves and Achilles, etc. And this time we'll do a slightly different arm. So we will take the arms to that nice wide star place as the heels lift on our inhales. But then when we come down with the soles on the ground, we'll bend those arms, drawing the elbows towards our waist. And we'll come in and out of that a few times. Nice big wide arms, open heart, and then that squeeze towards your waist. Playing with a little coordination, really trying to match the rhythm of the foot movement with your arm movement and your breath. Last one. As your soles come to the floor, allow your hands to come to those thighs, and then let's walk those feet in towards one another. We're going to end with one last round of those torso circles, just sort of giving ourselves a chance to get any last minute kinks out. Do about 3 or 4 circles in each direction. Definitely only let this feel good for you. Look for nice smooth transitions as we switch direction. And then bring it to that nice centered place, sitting nice and tall, and then just seal this time that you just gave to yourself by bringing your hands to your heart and just a little moment of stillness, just letting the energy that you just cultivated settle. Give yourself a moment to absorb the strength and the openness and the stability and the balance into all the places that you need it most. Namaste. I hope to see you again. I will be making more videos, so perhaps subscribe and have a beautiful day.